Hello folks, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my 1 month with the Lumix S9 and pros and cons. So let's get straight into the video and let's talk about it. When this camera came out, it got a lot of backlash because it has that overheating issue. It didn't have the EVF, it didn't have the hot shoe, and then so on and all the thing, the body being a little bit plasticky and so on. I am actually one of the people who bashed so much into this camera when it got released, especially because they put the overheating time limit to prevent the overheating, right? So they put a time limit to prevent the overheating, which for me that doesn't make sense because I am a person who always says give us and let us use it, and then we will find the way to go around them, right? And that's exactly what I did. I found a way to go around the overheating issues, which if they will have still kept, the recording time limits, I couldn't have find any way to go around that. That will mean that I'll have to stop the camera, move again, back to the camera, and then record again, right? And that is a bummer. Like now I'm recording in 6K open gate and I can record for how long until the camera overheats. That means in about an hour or so, right? So if you put a 20 minutes or 15 minutes record limit, you are basically interrupting my creativity, right? So that is exactly what Lumix did. Lumix later on released a firmware update that then basically fixed all the issues. Well, not all, because there are some hardware limitations, so they cannot add through a firmware update an EVF or a hot shoe. So that's be it. But at least the record time limit has been, took away, and they have added quite amazing cool things. So what are the pros that I love about this camera? Booting time. So later on in during the time, Lumix released a firmware update. I think it was actually the one before this last one they have just released, which I actually have 2 videos on. So go watch them, the last 2 videos before this one, where they literally improved the booting time of this camera, because before we know that the booting time was so slow that will make you lose moments, but now it's basically instant. You press on the trigger to turn on and it basically turns on in 1 second or so. So that is really cool, and that's one of my pros. My second pro is image quality. This camera has by far one of the best image qualities on a mirrorless or in any camera that has this form factor, especially because of Vlog. Vlog so far has been my favorite, hands down, log format to work with, to color grade, because it's so versatile, it's so easy, and it's so beautiful. And now you can shoot up to 6K open gate, so full sensor, and retain everything that you are actually seeing through the lens without cutting out anything. So that is really, really amazing. Well, we just said 6K open gate, right? Well, that's the other pro of this camera. It's the only camera in this form factor in the full frame realm that has open gate, which you can use to film all the sensor. Like you are literally shooting the full sensor, and it's so amazing. Until now, you will always have the 16:9 or 17:9, so DCI, which it will basically crop a little bit the top and bottom of the image, which allows the sensor to overheat less, but it makes you lose more of the frame, right? By now, you don't need that. Plus, with anamorphic lenses, that is even better. And this camera allows you even to use, 33 millimeter lenses as well, because it has even the 4:3 open gate mode, which is basically cropping on the sensor, but you have the choice if you want to, and it's 3.3K. So you are not losing that much of resolution. You're still gonna have a really, really good resolution. And for what I've heard, because I haven't tried it yet, even in APS-C mode, this camera has a pretty good dynamic range and it looks really great. I actually have to test that, so I will do a video on that as well. The next thing is IBIS. Oh boy. IBIS from this camera, they are industry leading for image stabilization because their in-body image stabilization is the best, hands down, out there. I don't know how they do it, but a camera can have more stabilization internally but look like crap compared to cameras like this that have less, right, image stabilization in body, right? So it's interesting what Lumix managed to do there and that other companies has not caught up yet. And even with this small body of a camera, you are still able to use that function. So it's amazing. And as in the full frame lineup of body of cameras with this form factor, the S9 is the only camera that has IBIS internally and shoots open gate at the same time. Don't forget that, without wobbles in the corner as well, because they actually released a firmware update, I think beginning of this year or so, that fixed that wobbling when you are using around 20mm lens or so. But I've used a 16mm on this camera and I still haven't seen any wobbling in the corner, so that is amazing. The next pro is real-time LUT. Real-time LUT is a time saver because you basically have what basically Fuji was doing since years, but now Lumix has done their own implementation where you can basically bake in your own LUT to basically the JPEG image that you are going to deliver, so you don't need to edit anymore. And that can be really, really good, you know, for you are shooting some event and stuff. You can be using it and then deliver immediately some pictures for you know the people to post if they want to post something immediately, right? So that is amazing thing. And now they have even implemented more with the other pro thing, which is Magic LUT, which I have a video on and it's going actually pretty great. So if you want to watch more, go watch it. It's actually my latest video and it's a really, really good in-depth where I show completely like how it works and how it does. So make sure to go watch it. And Magic LUT is amazing because it basically emulates, it creates basically a LUT from whatever image you want to create a LUT from, and then baked in into whatever picture that you have taken and that you want to emulate that image from, right? So, and still let you tweak that. Of course, it's not perfect. It's not going to fully emulate the image you selected because it doesn't have the same lighting conditions, same setup, most of the time same cameras as well. So they have different color characteristics. So you will still need a little adjustment there, but you can do all of it in the app. And by saying that, we go straight to Lumix Lab app. Lumix Lab app has been a game changer for me because it's so amazing, it's so beautiful, and it works so well that you can basically just take LUTs that other creators have used and directly uploading straight to your camera. And the best thing is the creators I've even immediately labeled what they were using. So they were using maybe standard, normal. So which what is a picture quality they are using. So it's easy for you to not be lost in there. And then least but not the last, MP4 Lite. So if you want to download your footage straight into the Lumix Lab app, you cannot use the other formats because they are too heavy and it will take so much time for you to download them in the app. So what did Lumix do? Lumix has created this MP4 Lite, which it's basically a 50 megabits per second file that it's basically an open gate. This is 3.8K open gate, 10-bit 420 that you can basically just create, download, and be editing straight everything from your phone, which is plenty enough. It's still a 3.8K, so almost 4K quality, but with the lower bit depth. So it's quite good for social medias, which nowadays are still 1080p, which Instagram I think is upgrading to 2K. So you still have a lot of room there for your image quality. So it's really, really amazing. But you will not only have pros without cons, right? So let's talk a little bit about some cons because obviously it has some cons. It can be a perfect camera, right? Well, the first con is going to be the back body. So basically where the compartment where you put the monitor in, right? I would have loved that they will have basically put a little bit out the chin where you bring the monitor in, right? Because that will allow basically a fan, the fan that many companies have created. I have the Ulanzi COU1, which I will do a review on. I haven't done a review on, I think, yet, but I have a video on it, as is the when I talk about the overheating issue and how to fix the overheating issue of this camera. So you can go watch that one too if you want to. And that will be so much easier because then you will have had this space where this fan will have sit really perfectly. But unfortunately, the chin, it's so small because I think Lumix didn't really think about that as an option when they were creating it, that you have to somehow work around it, which I have found a work around it, but still it would have been really, really good to have a little bit of this chin out so you could have actually use this fan properly and better way, because this camera is still amazing. It's basically an S5II in a smaller body, right? So for podcasting, for smaller productions, which this camera is not meant for, yeah? So listen to me. But the form factor is so great that you could use this camera for those things. When you need a small, super small camera, this camera could really be handy for that. But hey, it is what it is. This camera is still amazing, and at this point, it's just nitpicking. The other thing is basically the lack of small zoom lenses, right? So as for now, as the lens I'm using, this is the 18 to 40. And then you have the longer lens you can have in combination with this lens is the 28 to 200, which is variable lens as well. And then you can have the 20 to 60 kit lens, for example, and then all the other ones are like, you know, prime lenses, or they are too bulky for this camera. And I'm talking specifically about zoom, because if I'm going around, I don't want to use only prime lenses. I want to have more capabilities, and there is no much out there yet that will fit this camera, and it's a little bit of a bummer. But the 28 to 200, it's one that it creates really a lot of curiosity in me, and as soon as I can, I will purchase one because I think it's an amazing range and it's perfect combination with this 18 to 40. But let's see what Lumix will do in the future, right? But it's up to us to ask, and then we will see if they will deliver it or not. The next con are the buttons. Remember, here is just nitpicking at this point, but better say it than then having people just saying, hey, you didn't say this because it's that, is that. Okay, I'm saying it, but it's just nitpicking at this point. Yes, it's the feeling of the button on the back, especially the scrolling wheel, feels slightly cheap. It's still plasticky. It feels really cheap, but until now, I haven't got any issue with it. It works perfectly. I have big hands, and I'm used to probably clicking things around and blah blah blah. But I hear people saying that it's too small, that their hands are clicking here and there, and I have to be sincere. I'm not feeling that. For me, it works perfectly, and nothing hasn't really created any issue. That it feels cheap, yeah, that for sure. But that I have had problems with it, no, I haven't. So at this point that I said, it is a little bit of a nitpicking thing here. The next feature I will love to see in the next probably version of this camera is a hot shoe. I can understand that probably they went a little bit on saving space to make it small as possible and light as possible, so they had to take some things out. But the hot shoe for me, it would have been really cool, especially because, as I said, for podcasting, it would be really cool to be able still to use, the DMW models from Lumix. Yes, you can still go in with the line in through the 3 millimeter port jack, but it's going to be a mono basically audio in. So then you just have to rely on external recording, which is not a big deal. Still nitpicking here, but that will have been a good thing to have. The next thing is obviously what many people are talking about, which is EVF. And I feel and I felt it that I kind of needed it when I had the sun at 12 o'clock, so straight above my head. And I was shooting maybe down a little bit down below where I was shooting to the swans and stuff. And there, I could see that I was struggling a little bit with the monitor, which is one of my favorite monitor. This is a 1.8 million dots monitor and is really bright enough. Of course, not bright as the latest Nikon Nikon monitors, because those are insanely bright and insanely good monitors. But this monitor still stands out for being one of the best monitors out there when it comes to mirrorless cameras. And yeah, so in that case, I've missed a little bit the EVF, especially because I was using my Russian build like a tank manual lens there, which is the longer lens I have, which is a 135 f2.8 lens. And that was hard because even with focus peaking, it was hard to see it well. And then in post, I actually saw that I missed some shots because I didn't really see well. And the focus peaking is not the greatest tool on this camera either when it comes to really small objects and things. So, well, that would be cool to have even a small EVF in the next version. It will be really cool to have it. But hey, here are my opinions and things that I wanted to say about this camera. What are yours? What do you think I missed, or what do you think I didn't miss? What are your opinion, and what would you like to see in the next version? But my final thoughts are that this camera is really a good camera for what it actually is. You can use it for really a lot of things, and it's mind-blowing that Lumix even thought about limiting this camera when it first came out. And this camera is just fun to use. It's just so fun, especially in combination with the Lumix Lab app and the Magic Lab now. It's just so fun. I would love to see the ability to use the Lumix Flow app on this camera. I wouldn't really hold my breath on that, but hey, if they do it, cool. If they don't do it, we understand the reason why. This is not created as a pro camera, so I understand them just reserving that to the pro cameras and especially video centric cameras that they have. And this camera just looks good, and especially the new version that they have done, the gold titanium I think is called. It looks so amazing. If I wouldn't have already bought this, I think I would have ordered that one instead. But I love this sleek black version that Lumix has, and I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, this is basically all. So let's have a chat down below or what your thoughts are, and let me know what you would like to see next in the future in as videos. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. Take good care of your head, of your head, yeah, of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I'm gonna see you in the next one.